Check your thermostat right now. Maybe it is set to 68 degrees or 72 degrees Fahrenheit. We adjust it once and then completely forget about it. Yet for over 300,000 years, every single generation of your ancestors faced the exact same deadly threat every winter. They had no thermostats, no insulation, and not even basic walls, just their bare hands, animal bones, and a brutal cold capable of killing a modern human in a matter of hours. So how did they manage to not just survive under such conditions, but actually build a thriving life? The truth will surprise you and permanently change the way you look at the comfort of your own home. Let's imagine what the people of that time actually felt. Across the vast expanses of the Eurasian steppe, the temperature would plunge to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This is not the mild chill you feel while walking to your car in the morning. This is the kind of cold that freezes exposed skin within minutes, makes every breath painful, and brings a wind that doesn't just cut to the bone, but literally hunts you down. If an unprepared modern American was suddenly dropped into an Ice Age winter, they wouldn't survive until sunrise. Pop culture constantly portrays primitive humans as shivering creatures huddled inside caves around a tiny campfire, barely making it through the night. However, archaeological discoveries completely shatter this myth and reveal a history of true engineers. Here is the first misconception we have about our ancestors. They barely ever lived in caves. For instance, in Kostroma, where discoveries date back about 800,000 years, scientists found circular depressions up to 8 feet deep and 12 feet across. These were not natural formations. Tool marks left in the soil proved that they were excavated deliberately with precise calculation. Why? Because at a depth of 6 to 8 feet underground, the temperature remains 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer than the freezing air on the surface. Our ancestors didn't fight the cold. They hid beneath it. Over time, their technology became increasingly sophisticated. In Dolní Věstonice, Czech Republic, archaeologists studied winter dwellings dating back 26,000 years. Their walls consisted of multiple layers, with each element serving a distinct thermal regulation function. The inner layer consisted of animal hides turned fur-side in to trap body heat. The middle layer consisted of dry grass and moss, which absorbed and channeled away excess moisture. The outer layer consisted of woven mats made of reeds and bark, which shielded the structure from the wind, but allowed it to breathe, so that condensation wouldn't freeze and destroy the setup from within. This was not an intuitive gathering of random materials, but a well-thought-out, multi-layered thermal engineering system, built on the exact same principles used today to design houses in Minnesota or Alaska. The modern American construction industry relies on vapor barriers, insulation foam, and weatherproofing. Your Ice Age ancestors relied on hides, moss, and bark. The materials have changed, but the laws of physics remain exactly the same. The most incredible discovery awaited researchers in Ukraine at sites like Mezyrich and in Kostynki. There they uncovered true engineering marvels, substantial houses built entirely out of mammoth bones. Imagine the sheer scale of this. Mammoth skulls, each weighing over 200 pounds, served as heavy foundation blocks. Curved tusks formed the arched dome structure of the roof. Hundreds of smaller bones filled the gaps, providing structural support. The entire structure was then covered with layers of stitched mammoth hides, thick enough to block hurricane-force winds and engineered to easily bear the weight of heavy snow. This is not just a drive for survival. This is pure architecture. Experimental modeling of these huts confirmed what archaeologists had long suspected. A properly constructed mammoth bone house could maintain an internal temperature 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the outside air while burning a minimal amount of fuel. Let that sink in. Modern Arctic modules equipped with industrial insulation and electric heaters sometimes demonstrate the exact same efficiency. Stone Age builders, armed with nothing but bones, hides, and flint cutters, matched the thermal performance of cutting-edge modern engineering. Of course, no structure could save them without fire, and fire was the true operating system of their entire winter lifestyle. The heating systems inside these homes are striking in their design standards. The main hearth was located right in the center, providing the core heat. Additional smaller fires were lit along the perimeter, creating dedicated zones for different tasks. Cooking happened here, while tool-making took place over there. Infants and the elderly were placed in the warmest sectors. The layout of the living space was meticulously calculated, never chaotic. In the treeless steppe, wood was incredibly scarce, so our ancestors engineered an alternative fuel. They dried mammoth dung and processed bones to achieve maximum combustion efficiency. Chemical analysis of the ash proves that the fuel underwent preliminary treatment to deliver the exact required level of heat output. They didn't just burn whatever they found. They managed their resources with intelligence. Modern experts are particularly fascinated by their ventilation methods. Without proper airflow, moisture from breathing and cooking builds up inside any enclosed space. In sub-zero temperatures, this condensation freezes, causing the structure to collapse from the inside out. Archaeologists in Kostenki discovered traces of a sophisticated ventilation system. Small openings near the ground provided an intake of fresh air, while larger openings at the top of the dome, the apex, released the heated moisture outside. But what happened inside these homes after the sun went down? This is the part that most documentaries simply skip. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans went to bed at dusk and woke up at dawn. However, their sleep pattern was completely different from ours. It was biphasic. First, they would sleep for about 4 hours, then wake up for 1 to 2 hours, and after that, fall asleep again for another 4 hours until morning. This wasn't insomnia. It was a natural human biorhythm documented across dozens of ancient cultures. In 1992, American psychiatrist Thomas Weir proved this experimentally. When modern humans were deprived of any artificial light for a month, every single one of them naturally reverted to this biphasic sleep pattern. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner, who spent years studying the Bushmen of the Kalahari, one of the last groups to preserve a primitive lifestyle, noticed a fascinating detail. Nighttime conversations were radically different from daytime ones. During the day, 80% of their communication centered on daily chores, hunting, and resources. But at night around the campfire, 81% of the time was dedicated to storytelling and myths. The campfire became humanity's very first movie theater and its very first school. The famous Paleolithic Venus figurines are most frequently discovered within the context of these winter dwellings. Furthermore, the majority of cave paintings were created during those long months of winter confinement. The art that shaped our species wasn't born in the summer. It was crafted by the light of the flames inside bone houses while a frozen apocalypse raged outside. Constructing a single mammoth bone house required 2 to 3 weeks of heavy labor by a group of 8 to 10 adults. This means that construction began in late summer or early autumn, long before working outdoors became impossible. Tool wear analysis confirms it. Our ancestors didn't just react to the weather. They were strategists with clear seasonal calendars mapped out in their minds. Food storage was equally high-tech. In permafrost zones, underground chambers connected to the house by short tunnels served as natural refrigerators. The meat remained deep frozen and accessible even during the most severe blizzards. Their clothing was tailored using the exact same composite principles as their housing. Multiple layers of fur from different animals, wolf, fox, hare, with each layer serving a specific purpose. The inner layer trapped warm air, while the outer layer protected against moisture and wind. Modern winter jackets replicate this physics line for line, even though it was invented 25,000 years before Gore-Tex membrane ever existed. If a house suffered any damage, it was repaired immediately. Archaeology records constant winter maintenance, replacing broken bones, restoring insulation, and patching up hides. This was not a temporary, disposable shelter. It was a living system kept in continuous working order. When the Ice Age ended and the climate warmed up, this remarkable system of knowledge became obsolete and was eventually forgotten over time. Yet today, military Arctic training programs teach soldiers to build survival shelters using layouts recovered from 20,000-year-old archaeological excavations. Disaster relief organizations have adapted these very methods to build emergency housing in extreme conditions. We lost this knowledge, spent centuries rediscovering it through modern science, only to find out that our ancestors had perfectly solved the problem using nothing but stone and bones. The next time you walk up to your thermostat, remember, the number on it displays conditions that your ancestors would have viewed as a miracle, not because they couldn't keep warm. They knew how to do it significantly better than us in far more unforgiving conditions, but because every single warm night demanded a colossal price. Weeks of preparation, months of planning, non-stop physical labor, and knowledge so precise that a single mistake meant the death of the entire family before dawn. The fairy tales we read to our children before bed tonight are the direct descendants of the myths that echoed around campfires in bone huts amidst the frozen steppe. Comfort and warmth are not inventions of our generation. We inherited them from the incredible engineers of the past, who faced a hostile world with nothing but the cold, time, and an absolute refusal to die. So when the first winter frost arrives and you mechanically reach for that heat regulator, remember the incredibly long journey humanity has taken and realize what a rare, profound blessing it truly is to simply be warm.